Hey guys, what's up? Um, Long time no see. Is what it is. Let's just hop into it. So one secret of Freemasonry, I believe, is that the bloodlines are from reptilians, the original Anunnaki. All that stuff on the Sumerian tablets are historical; they're not mythology. They're from reptilians who made it with the original humans, which is why they embed so much, and they know. I forget. I didn't mean to type embed. I don't know what that is. And they know that the entire Old Testament is about reptilian control over humanity, of aliens pretending to be God, which is why Jesus calls it out 6 times in Matthew 5, and says, "Don't." He calls them a bunch of vipers, aka snakes. He said to the Jews, "You're of your father, the devil." In John 8:44, because the Old Testament is not about the true God, but aliens pretending to be God. And yeah, he calls them vipers. So there's a lot of context clues that really confirm conspiracy theorists like David Icke and stuff. We want to laugh, but that's what the Bible says. Okay. I have some other random questions. Can the homeless and jobless be charged with tax evasion? Like, if you don't have a job and you're not paying the government, what taxes do you owe them? So I guess it's kind of it mutually cancels out. I'm wondering what the signature is versus an autograph of someone. Like, at what point do you find yourself a celebrity or famous or important? Oh, you want my autograph, not my signature. Okay. Um, this is my problem, really, when you find profound truths but use the wrong mediums or outlets. YouTube's about killing time. It's really hard to find people who agree with multiple things on YouTube. It's just like people are into this or that, and their whole channel is about that, and that's so boring to me. But you do you, but I'll be doing me at the same time. That sounded wrong. I often wonder, what were Jesus's dreams like? Because he was a man, so he walked this earth, and he did what humans do. So he dreams. And of course I believe dreams are from God, because the Bible mentions dreams over 100 times. So yeah, I just kind of wonder. I guess I'll ask him at the pearly gates. Liberals, we hate Nazis, but in 2020 they steal the side buzz haircut. And liberals, we hate rednecks. 2023 they steal the mullet. So it's just kind of weird, don't you think? And like I said, yeah, the Bible is historical, religion is mythological. Okay. Some cool black metal artists that I like. Yeah, we know the barcode 666 thing. And once again, for people who are not really on board with the Jesus isn't the Christ thing, look at John 7 again. So the Jews say, when our Messiah Christ comes, no one will know where he's from. And Jesus said, right, you know me and where I'm from. So I'm not the Christ Messiah, essentially. And then they said, okay, and Jesus, he agreed with them, basically. And the Jews agreed with him too, said, yeah, he can't be the Christ Messiah if we know where he's from, because our texts say we won't know, according to Yahweh's Messiah. So the Jews said, so when our Christ Messiah comes, will he do more signs than this man has done? So yeah, that's her saying, yeah, he's not the Christ. So when our Christ comes, whoever this guy is, doesn't matter. Is he going to do more miracles than this guy has already done? John 7 really is a mind blower. Know what I'm saying? I was reading Nietzsche, The Gay Science. Another translation is The Joyful Wisdom. In German, it's Die Fröhliche Wissenschaft. Frolic, like happy. So he's trying to make philosophy not boring. So yeah, I love all this stuff. Anyone with a very loud voice is almost incapable of thinking subtleties. More proof that Hitler was the complete opposite of what Nietzsche was talking about when he mentioned the Übermensch. Okay. Hitler's a loud, annoying, evil piece of garbage. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, just some other stuff y'all should read there. Some more Nietzsche. Y'all gotta read that stuff. I really like this one. Don't we have to admit to ourselves, we artists, that there's an uncanny difference within us between our taste and our creative power? It's like you grow up with the Beatles. We all love the Beatles, and we want to make songs better than them, but our own abilities are totally different. We're unique souls, even though our tastes may lie somewhere. And right here it says, as experience shows, one's taste can easily grow far beyond the reach of the taste of one's own powers. It's like, yeah, you like Metallica, but that doesn't mean you can shred like them. You know, we have to work with what we got. Even though we want to be some other ideal, we shouldn't. Just like Oscar Wilde says, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Okay, I always loved that quote. It really gave me, because I'm a big imitator. I'm very influenced by things that I like. So I'm always trying to be, trying to try something else, be black metal, then I'll do mixtapes like DJ Screw. I just want to try everything out because life is short, I want to make sure I'm using all of my abilities to its heightened. Like AI art, I did Tim Burton's Cyberpunk, so that generated some pretty sweet images. Some other stuff, boring stuff. It's me commenting on other YouTubers. Here, time for some quick ones. Pop culture, be yourself. Pop culture, but don't offend anyone. There's this mutually exclusive ideologies, of course. Liberal, we are curing fascism. Liberals also. If you don't believe what we do, you will be canceled, imprisoned, or looted. So that's you curbing and curing totalitarianism. Politics, if you don't vote, you're unpatriotic. Also politics, gives us two evil candidates to choose from. So don't believe people say, well, you can't complain if you didn't vote. Actually, I can, because I knew he was going to do that and you did vote for him. So it's on you, not me. I vote for God every time. Now the Jews say Jesus doesn't fulfill the Yahweh warrior prophecies. Jesus agreed, which is why I never said Yahweh was my father. Bye. Mic drop. For real. When once did Jesus say Yahweh was his father? He never even mentions the term Yahweh or Jehovah. Okay, he only says Patros, or father. Okay, or Lord Kyrios. So we just take it for granted. We assume the Old Testament is Jesus' dad. But every time Jesus mentions the Old Testament, he says, you have heard it been said by them of old time. Why didn't he just say, well, my father says this in the Old Testament, but I'm bringing the new philosophy, the new covenant? He never says that. Why didn't he just say, my dad says eye for an eye, I say turn the other cheek? He never says that. He always says, you have heard it been said by them of old time. He's talking about the Anunnaki ruling over the world. The reptilians and stuff that are still here. Still ruling us, just underground. Literally and metaphorically. So the church says, Jesus wants everyone to know he was the Jewish Christ Messiah. But the Bible says, Jesus charged his disciples to tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. How are you spreading the gospel? If you're telling them, tell no one I'm Christ, but let's have a gathering of 5,000 people tomorrow to spread the gospel. What? We're once again, we're reading it wrong. The mainstream interpretation is, don't tell anyone yet that I'm the Christ because I haven't gone on the cross yet, which is wrong. If he was the Christ, he'd want everyone to know. The good news is Jesus was beyond Yahweh's Christ. He did more than the Jewish Messiah. He's the Son of God, not some warrior Messiah like David come to kill the Romans. Jesus said, turn the other cheek. The Jews are like, so you're definitely not our Messiah because we're ready to fight these Romans enslaving us. Okay? Jesus didn't fulfill many of these prophecies of the Old Testament, y'all. Now the church will say, Jesus clearly stated he was Christ, the King of the Jews. What does the Bible say? Pilate asked Jesus, are you the King of the Jews? And Jesus said, you have said so, not I. That's what this implies. I put this little bars here. You said I am. And then again, it says the high priest said to Jesus, tell us if you're the Christ, the Son of God. Just tell us you are. Jesus said to him, you've said so, not I. I didn't tell you that. You're the one saying that. He's beating around the bush. And then we're going to get into another verse. The one time he does say he's the Christ, in Mark 14:62, the Greek is wrong. It says, Jesus said, I am. And you'll see the Son of Man seated at the right hand of power coming in the clouds of heaven. But guess what? Like I said, the Greek is wrong, and we can see it right here. It takes off this word de, which is not, de, negating a participle, in no way. So there's the Greek showing the knot. Sorry, you can zoom in to make it bigger. The one time the Bible says in English, I am, and you'll see the Son of Man sitting in the right hand of power. They leave out the no, I am not. But you will see the Son of Man sitting in the right hand of power. Okay? That's why these English Bibles are corrupt. People want to say, oh, God wrote the Bible, so it's all on him. No, Satan messed up the Bible. It's holy, but so is the puzzle. It's a holy puzzle. It's a holy riddle. Okay? That is what the Bible is. It's a spiritual riddle. And we're all just reading it like some 10-year-old would read Dr. Seuss. It's all, cut and paste, literal, not metaphorical. It's like in one breath they'll say, oh, well, the 7 days is only metaphorical. Oh, but then there's no dinosaurs. That's literal. Like, people are just mixing up their metaphors here, okay? And that's why Jesus said, I speak in parables, because it's not for everyone to know. It's only for his predestinated elect. Christians, we'll go into that later. I was watching some Joe Rogan, binging that. He talked to Cat Williams. That was awesome. He talked to Billy Carson, who we've gone over, about the aliens and stuff. And Kid Rock talks about, I hate Kid Rock or whatever. I liked him in middle school. But he talks about going to Bohemian Grove. He punched someone at Bohemian Grove. Like, all these celebrities are in it together. Then Jim Brewer, he's awesome. He doesn't deal with that woke stuff. And so this is another one of my other YouTube channels that I watch called Good God. He has some great points of Yahweh being Satan. Yeah, y'all can just read that down the list. I'm not going to read all that, but that's what the pause button is for. And here's another thing. They say, well, why does bad things happen to good people? If God runs the world, shouldn't only good things happen all the time? No, Satan rules the world. God created the universe and everything in and outside of it. The DMT afterlife, where we've been before this fleshy body. The DMT experience is where we were before, and it's where we're going after. It's just which dimension are we going to go through, and that's why Swedenborg is very important. The different spiritual dimensions of heaven and hell. It matches our spiritual energy that we've been accumulating on this earth through multiple past lives. Okay? 3 times Jesus referred to the ruler of this world as someone besides himself or the Father. And Satan tempted Jesus to give him authority on the earth, thus proving Jesus' Father did not have authority on the earth. Okay? Jesus said that Moses accuses us through the law. Thus, another ruler besides Jesus' Father gave the law. Y'all getting it? Reptilians, they wanted you to be they wanted you to be slaves. And all those dumb Americans who are shipping over slaves in America back in the day were getting these verses from the Old Testament and corrupted verses from Paul saying slavery is good, obey your master. That's all Paul. That's all garbage. 90% of Christianity today is Paulinism, or whatever the word is. It's not Jesus. They want to read Romans and Thessalonians and Titus and all these other New Testament letters, but not the 4 Gospels. Those are the most important thing in the entire Bible. Matthew, John, Luke, Mark, and Mark was first. But again, they messed up the order, yada, yada, yada. Oh yeah, this is where Nietzsche says he controls lightning. I'm going to say it again, y'all, for all the skeptics. It's in the most popular edition of the Gay Science, the one with the yellow cover, translated by Walter Kaufman. Okay? Prophetic Human Beings. It says, how much may animals suffer from the electricity in the air and the clouds, and that is their pains that make them prophets. Well, Walter Kaufman, for some reason, he put in the bottom these letters that Nietzsche wrote. I know I've been talking about this for 15 years, but no one gives a shit. I'm the only person on YouTube who ever talks about it. No Nietzscheans talk about it. No New Agers talk about it. Am I the only one who finds this important? Nietzsche, October 28th, 1881, asked Overbeck, one of his friends, to have a book sent to him on account of the terrible effects of atmospheric electricity on me that will drive me over the earth. There must be better living conditions for my nature, like in the high plateaus of Mexico on the Pacific side. Very, very much tormented day after day from atmospheric electricity, and this comes right after a section talking about lightning. Okay? And November 14th, 1881, a month later. It said Nietzsche writes over back again that he received the book by Foizak on medical meteorology but found it disappointing. Nietzsche says, I should have been at the electricity exhibition in Paris, partly to learn the latest findings, partly as the exhibition. Or as one, for as one who senses electrical changes, and as a so-called weather prophet, I'm a match for the monkeys. And here's where I get into it. Astrology. Who's the god of lightning? Zeus. What planet does he rule? Jupiter. What's the most psychic sign? Pisces. So, of course, Nietzsche and I have Jupiter, Zeus, in Pisces. The psychic control of lightning. And we're all just electricity, you know? We're not just walking meat bags like the skeptic scientists want to tell you. We're a bunch of electrons and protons and neutrons. It's running through us constantly. Okay, so once again, Nietzsche was a telekinetic, spiritual prophet. He fulfilled 5 different religions. 1844 said a Messiah is coming down. And Christianity got it the closest by a week. A 2300 year prophecy. Within a week, Nietzsche's born right then, October 15th, 1844. When was the Great Disappointment? October 22nd, 1844. They're all disappointed and they died thinking Jesus would never come back. Nietzsche was born that day. Jesus wasn't coming in the clouds. He was just another Quetzalcoatl. And yes, Quetzalcoatl was supposed to return in 1844 as well, from the Toltec prophecies. Anyway, Francis Bacon's promise, he says, he who thinks no evil is easily deceived. And that's like being street smart. If you don't know how you're going to get played and how dangerous this world can be, and you don't want to be scammed, then you're going to be deceived. You can't just go hopping around thinking everything's A-okay. Okay. Yeah, then I did some gun control stuff because I hate all that. And if you want to go conservative, well, look what Ronald Reagan, he bans California citizens from carrying guns in public. Some Republican, stupid, annoying person, Sarah Palin, disarmed brigade members of the Alaska State Defense Force. Some right-winger, Mitt Romney, signed assault weapons ban. Some pro-Second Amendment conservative, and then of course Obama. You know, like, this is why you shouldn't vote. They're not going to uphold your rights. They're slowly dwindling them away, just at different paces. Criminals are in favor of gun control laws. If you don't get that, then I'm sad. In 1956, MLK applied for a concealed carry permit and was denied by the government. So gun control, it's denying the rights to the people that the government doesn't like. Okay, here's my favorite. How many rape victims do you think wish they had a gun during their attack? If you said all of them, then you just might support the Second Amendment. Common sense. You want to disarm people just because some guy shot up a school? If there were armed guards there in the first place, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe it would be, I don't know, a deterrent. Okay? Another problem with the church. They say all sinners go to hell. But then in the same breath, they say everyone's a sinner. So which one is it? Well, we're all sinners, but those who repent and those who try to change go to heaven. Okay, I'll give you that. But don't confuse everyone and say, well, everyone's a sinner. Well, then I guess we're all going to hell. You know, it's some weird logic that these churches use. Okay, almost done here, y'all. What I thought the future would be like versus what the future is. Transgender track runner wins 2 women's events in which race times would have been last place among men. Where are all the feminists now? They're letting guys beat them up in boxing and sports and running and swimming. Where's your girl power now? Are you just mad that you'll get canceled because of the culture you created to hate men? Well, let's cancel men, Me Too movement, all this, men are evil. Okay, but you let them beat you in sports so you don't want to seem not part of the woke program. You want to be accepting. This is where these practical logistical issues come into play. You shouldn't accept. You shouldn't be tolerant of intolerance. Okay, just like Islam. They demean women every day, but you don't see liberal people talking about Islam and how evil that is, just Christianity all the time. Oh, they don't do that here, but their Bible says to do it. The Quran. Just because they're not following their Quran to the T doesn't mean those teachings aren't still taught. They still cover their face in Iran. And we're over here worried about, what restroom a fucking transgender person could get into, whereas women have real problems in other Middle Eastern Islam-run countries. No offense to parents, but fuck raising kids in 2024. Godspeed. For real, just raise them in this gross environment, just telling them left and right. Social media, it's gross. I'm trying to use social media to wake you up, not kill your time. Big difference. Attitude adjustment. Okay, a couple months ago I showed you that video of that thing that can read your thoughts and then literally have an image of it on the board. I'll put the link in the description to remind y'all. But yeah, so this is what my prediction of the future. I'm like Philip K. Dick. I see something and then I can see how crazy it can get if we keep implementing that same thing. In the future, they'll not only have gadgets that can read your thoughts, but your wife will force you to wear it during sex so she knows if you're thinking of someone else. For real. Privacy will be a thing of the past because what do you have to hide? Right? It's insane. Just a thought. It's this dystopia coming, y'all. Lastly, I say, people waste thousands of dollars on psychiatry when they can just Google their astrology to see why they're so messed up. I was talking to my girlfriend, she was like, yeah, people just, if you go to a shrink and all you talk about is your abused life or your, this or that, and if you just constantly dwell on what makes you sad, how is that improving you? Talk about something else. Change your life. Fill your time with positive things instead of talking about your daddy or mommy issues and paying someone to make you fixate on something you're trying to get over. Okay? When you could just go, hey, Aquarius, they're know-it-alls, but they can be a little cold sometimes. I'm like, oh, that's so true. Why didn't my shrink tell me that? Moon and Cancer, they have a good sense of humor, but they can get moody sometimes. Oh, dang, well, I guess that explains why not all Aquariuses are like me. They say Aquariuses are logical robots. Why am I so moody? Oh, because I have Moon and Cancer. Okay, astrology gets to the specifics. Okay, and that's why people just don't believe it, because how could it be that specific? Well, if you haven't read it, how would you know? How would you know? Well, I don't know what to look up. Well, I didn't either. No one taught me astrology. The internet did. I would say it's free, but we have to pay for internet access. But yeah, it's essentially free if you're watching this and you already have it. I mean, I'll post another video in the description if I remember on how to read your birth chart, and I'll put the links for the different websites I use. The most obvious one is astrotheme.com, and this is today. You can just change the city or time or whatever. Take off the ascendant because those don't matter right now. Okay, so yeah, if I look up at the sun right now, this yellow orange dot, well, if behind the sun is the constellation Gemini. So if you're born right now, your sun is in Gemini. You're a great communicator, but a little fickle with relationships. If I look at the moon, the constellation behind the moon is Virgo right now. So you're a really good cook. You're good at analyzing things, but you analyze your emotions a bit too much. Okay? Just constant. Every planet has its own little archetype. What's great about this site, just click on it. Boom. Moon represents emotions. You have a strong need for security, and a constant concern is to keep your intimate environment under control. That's so true for Moon and Virgos. Okay? Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening to me rant, and hopefully I can help you try and figure out what's going on in the world, because it's only getting crazier. But ironically, it's only proving what we've been saying for 10 years at least, or what Christians have been saying for 2,000 years. The end times, there's a falling away first. There's no great revival. There's a falling away, and we're seeing it right now, obviously. Okay, take it easy.